Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Sports Scene by NGTV. We'll probably start off with the game that we said would be game of the day, which wasn't really game of the day again.
Yeah.
To get a bit of a trend. Leicester 0, Man City 2. I say we did the watch along for that, and it wasn't. I expected a lot more from Leicester, to be honest. Did you feel the same way? Or
Yeah, I thought Leicester were disappointing. I don't know if it was down to like how dominant Man City were or whether they just didn't show up. But like considering they beat us 5-2 earlier in the season, you expected a lot more. You know, Jamie Vardy, I think, had less touches than Ederson in the end.
Yeah.
Which is just, that I suppose that's how you beat them. You shut him out of the game.
Do you think the international break had like an impact, or do you think? Because I tend to think like if they knocked Man United out with the FA Cup and played really well.
Yeah.
I think if they would have gone straight into the game with Man City, maybe the confidence would have been high and maybe the game would have been a little different. Not saying they would have got a result maybe, but maybe they would have put more of a game in. Or do you think it wasn't a factor?
I don't think it was a factor because, City probably had more players in their starting 11 that went off on international break than they did. You'd have to imagine, wouldn't you?
I'd probably say so. Yeah.
So
we probably got like a squad of internationals.
Exactly. So you'd have to think that like if anyone's momentum was going to be broken up, it would be the team where more players went off and played for the country type of thing. I can't think of like a whole heap of Leicester players that went away and played for the country. I suppose you could say them having like a couple of like a week or whatever it was, a week, 2 weeks off, maybe affected them. But I just think it was just City being the much better team and them not knowing how to deal with it.
I think maybe the team selection would have been a bit of a surprise to them as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Aguero got a start after it being made official that he was going to leave, which was a bit surprising if you ask me. Jesus also started, and then you got like the likes of like Gundogan on the bench and stuff like that. Sterling was on the bench.
Yeah.
So maybe it was a team maybe they didn't expect to start. But yeah, I thought they were really disappointing. But we did what we had to do, wasn't it? Really.
Basically, it was. I think they set up expecting you to attack a lot heavier, basically. So when that didn't happen, they were kind of like, "What's going on here?" Like they're just holding the ball 30 yards away from goal and just passing it round, and they just didn't have a chance to break, really.
Yeah, and I think City missed it a few. I know Mahrez missed 2.
Absolute sitters.
Sitters, really. So it probably could have been like maybe 4 or 5 as well, if they were more clinical.
True.
I'd just like to point out that I did say that Mahrez wouldn't have a good game because we're playing a half-decent team, which usually happens. Or when we start playing teams like Burnley and stuff, maybe he'll have a decent game then.
You get a hat-trick.
But yeah, so kind of called that. But yeah, it was kind of standard, and I think City need 3 more wins. I think.
4. I did check after the game. Yeah, it's 4 wins out of the last 7 games because it's an 11 points in it. So
yeah. I had a quick look as well. It's City have won 26 of their last 27 games.
It's wild.
With that one loss coming to United, and they've now won with that win against Leicester. They've won 15 consecutive away games in a row in all competitions as well.
You're not going to stop that type of form in the league, are you? Like, there's no way that anyone beats that.
I mean, when you're looking at like when they've won 26 or 27 games, and then from a United stance, if they still think that the league's still open and wide, when you look at that stat and then you think you need Man City to lose 4 games in the last like 7 or
you've
is
got
it?
7 left. Yeah.
You've got it's pretty slim.
And also on top of that, you have to win your 8 games to beat them if they do lose them 4, which as I'm sure we'll go on to, United make the hardest bloody job of even beating the lesser teams. So
yeah. Well, I think we'll move on to that now, because I think we've mentioned everything about the Man City game. There wasn't much talking points from the game either. It was pretty straightforward. Let's say they're on a good run. Obviously, we'll speak about the Dortmund game as well later on.
Yeah.
But moving on to the United game, I had them winning convincingly. I think I said I can't remember if it was during the watch along or the last podcast. I said I fancied United to win quite comfortably, and then it kind of went the way that you said, really.
Yeah. It was typical United again as well, wasn't it? That 1-0 going down 1-0, then starting to play a little bit, but they had me worried there for a little bit. About half time, do 1-0 down. I was just thinking, fuck's sake, we're gonna choke another opportunity to get clear of Leicester here. And then obviously, the 2 goals from Rashford and Greenwood in the end. But even then, it wasn't really well constructed play. The first goal, they give the ball away to Fernandes, and it was a good pass from Fernandes, good finish from Rashford, but they still had to give the ball away, type of thing. And then
say as well, just with the first goal, how did the Brighton player not get booked for wiping out Fernandes?
He absolutely creamed him, didn't he?
Absolutely creamed him.
Yeah, no, I was.
Yeah. Go on, carry on.
I was baffled on that one.
I was like,
yeah, and then the second one, it's good play, but then it's like a Pogba miscue. The defender doesn't quite get a foot to the clearance on the line. It could have gone a lot worse for United.
I think the Brighton had a penalty claim go to the VAR as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
I was watching it on my phone, so I didn't really get a great look at it. I don't know whether you'd say you've seen him given, you've seen him having.
You've definitely seen them given. Honestly, my initial thought was, oh, he's off. That's a penalty. He's off. Yeah. But then when I saw the replay, he goes to clip his heels, but actually misses him. And I think it was Welbeck, right? It was on.
I think it was, yeah.
Feels his presence a bit and kind of is like, well, he has to foul me, so I'm just going to go down. And I think that's where we've got away with it, really, because I feel like if the referee had have given the penalty there, they couldn't have overturned it for a clear and obvious error. So it was one of those, bit like umpire's call in cricket. It was whichever way the referee went was the way it was going to go, type of thing.
I think that was at 1-1 as well.
That was at 1-1, yeah.
Yeah, so that was obviously a big moment in the game. But United got the win. That's all they needed to do, really. I know it wasn't the greatest performance, but they always say, don't they, if you start getting the 3 points when you're not playing well, then
it's a good sign, yeah.
Then it's a good sign. So I think they've, what is it, 4 points?
4
the gap
points
to Leicester now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you probably have to say that United now probably won't get dragged into that top 4 race. I think they've pounced when teams have dropped points. I'm not too sure. I know they've got a couple of hardish games. I know they've still got to play, obviously, Liverpool, and I think they've got Tottenham. I'm not sure if that's the next game, actually.
I'm not sure. I did go to do the whole table to look at the running, and then fell asleep, basically.
I think I had a look last night, because I was looking to see if I fancied them dropping into that top 4 race, but I think they've only got really 2 hardish, the big teams left to play. I think that's Tottenham and Liverpool, but I'm sure it might be Tottenham next game, but I'm not completely sure. It might be the game after the next game, but it's pretty soonish.
I think I had a little look at Tottenham, West Ham, and Everton's running, and I'm sure Everton and West Ham play on the last day, which could be a final day top 4 decider, and if results go the way that they've been going, type thing. Yeah,
and I'll tell you what, the last day, if everything pans out, the last day could be interesting. Obviously, we've got Fulham v Newcastle. Obviously, you've just mentioned obviously the West Ham game and Everton. So it could be tasty. It could be some big games on that final day.
Yeah.
I know West Ham play tonight. They can go into top 4 if they win.
Yeah.
which is that is surprising. That obviously with like 31 games gone, I didn't expect West Ham to be.
I don't think anyone did.
Fighting for the top 4.
I think Everton have still got 2 games down as well.
Yeah. It's just crazy. The season's just mad, isn't it? But yeah, obviously, speaking about the United game, I expected a Man United win, but I thought it would be more comfortable than obviously it was. But they got the job done.
Yeah, I thought Henderson was unlucky with that first one because he made a great save off the initial header.
Yeah.
And then it just popped back up to him. He's like, oh yeah, fuck, put that one.
It's a
in.
pro club goal.
It really was, yeah.
It's a pro club goal. You make the keeper makes a decent save, and it just bounces straight back to the striker, and it just goes to tap.
Yeah.
I'll have that. Yeah, but that was apparently as well. Just speaking about United, I've seen before the game that apparently United are willing to let De Gea go at the end of the year.
Did see that, yeah.
I know he's on big wages as well, isn't
he? Yeah.
So maybe they are looking to give Henderson the number 1 spot like permanently now from now on. So
it's either that or go out and buy an Old Black or a Donnarumma or something.
Yeah, well, Donnarumma's contract's up, isn't it? So you could possibly get him on like a free transfer. So
it'd be a bit of a kick in the balls to Henderson though, because he's been a solid keeper to be fair.
I think if you let De Gea go, but then sign like a Donnarumma or an Old Black or something like that, I think Henderson would leave.
So do I.
To go to a team that would play first team. If he did leave, I reckon he could take over Pickford at Everton. That'd be a solid signing for Everton.
I was gonna say that'd be a solid pickup for them. It'd probably kill Pickford's England chances, but you know.
I think they should be dead anyway. I think he's an awful keeper.
He isn't great, is he? He has his games, but he's too small. Like he just.
He can pull off like a worldie, and then the next minute he's
making a mistake.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a calamity, really. But I think the other game that we highlighted was the Arsenal and Liverpool game.
We were both very wrong with that one.
Yeah, Arsenal were awful.
Yeah,
like awful. I watched. I think I watched like the first 65, 70 minutes.
Yeah.
But Arsenal were terrible. They were so bad.
Yeah.
It was just them in a nutshell, really, and they actually made Liverpool look really, really good.
That's what I mean. It's that inconsistency, like I was saying. I thought if anyone was going to be bad and inconsistent this time, it would be Liverpool, and it just wasn't.
Because we know how off form Liverpool's been this year, and they made them look like the team there was last year.
Yeah, I guess Fabinho being back and Jota being back has helped, but yeah, just terrible performance from Arsenal, really.
So that ended 3-0, didn't it?
3-0, yeah.
So I think Liverpool are.
Fifth,
I think they're only 3-4 points, aren't they? Something like that, off top 4 now.
Yeah, but a lot of the teams around them have got games in hand.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see if they can obviously keep up that performance as well. Obviously going into the next game, which we'll speak about now, they've got Real Madrid in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. That's tomorrow.
Champions League, not FA Cup.
Sorry, the Champions League quarter-final. How do you see that one? I know Real Madrid have picked up a bit of form now. They was 10 points behind Atletico Madrid in their league. I think that's been cut down to about 3 points now.
Yeah,
so they're on a bit of form.
I think Benzema's picked up a bit of form, hasn't he?
Yeah. I know Sergio Ramos is going to miss. Is he going to miss both games?
Apparently, he's going to miss both games. Yeah.
So he's going to miss both games. That's going to be a big miss for them.
I'm sure Sal's happy about that.
Oh, definitely. I think that was the little mind games going into it, wasn't it, between him?
Yeah. He's just I'm gonna
Salah. I'm
gonna drop you on your shoulder again.
Did you ever see that that video when they were both in the FIFA awards?
Yeah.
Ramos got picked for something. He went in and tapped him on the shoulder when he walked past him. I was like, that's a shithouse move.
Shithousery at its finest.
Yeah, so he's going to miss both games. How do you see those 2 games panning out? Do you think?
I often try not to write Liverpool off in Europe because it seems to be the one place where they do actually perform. I could see a close game, like a 1-1 or something. I think. I think it's gonna be like a tentative first leg, and I think I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw.
I think it's hard to write off Liverpool, like you said, but at the same time, Real Madrid are the kings of Europe.
This is true.
You know, they've won it 13 times or something like that. Won it 3 years back to back, like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So they seem to. I think it's a very interesting game. I think with Ramos, I probably would have edged it to Madrid, but with that news saying he's possibly missing both legs, I reckon you'd probably have to give it Liverpool on like a European night.
It is away though. I'd say that they've been better away. So
yeah, I would say it's when they're at Anfield. I mean that's a big. It's big in it because obviously the away goals and stuff. I don't think Madrid are like expansive as like they used to be. I think they're quite conservative. There was when we played them in like the knockout rounds last year.
Yeah.
They were very like compact and didn't really want to come out much, but it's definitely an interesting game. But I would probably edge it towards Liverpool, to be honest.
I think I'm gonna sit on the fence with the draw, but I can see what you mean. I think if Liverpool were to lose this game, and it was only by 1 goal, but they managed to grab a goal, so like a 2-1, I don't think they'd be super disappointed because of the away goal.
Yeah. I think that's always the big thing in like the Champions League, isn't it? As long as you get like at least one away goal.
Yeah.
It's massive, isn't it? Obviously that'll bring us on to the next game, which is on the same day tomorrow. It's been confirmed that it is at the Etihad Stadium as well. So it's Man City versus Dortmund. I mean, despite Dortmund being quite good going forward, they're not that great at keeping the goals out, really. I think I had a look. I think they're 5th in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, they lost again this weekend.
Yeah, I think they're a good 5 or 6 points off 4th as well, so they're in danger of actually not qualifying for the Champions League next year.
Yeah.
Which will be bad for them to obviously try and keep hold of like Haaland and Sancho and stuff like that.
I think we may see like a mass exodus of players from Dortmund this year. I think we may see 3 or 4 of them go.
Yeah, I agree. They've got a really young team, really good young players, and they'll want to be playing. The big teams will be hoping they don't qualify for the Champions League next year, because then they'll definitely want to leave.
Then fees will come down a bit as well.
Yeah, so just obviously speaking about the game, I know City are very dodgy in the Champions League. So I know they haven't been dodgy this year. They haven't conceded since match day 1.
Yeah.
So if they can keep like Haaland quiet and stuff like that, then I think they'll comfortably go through, because I don't think Dortmund are that great going back, and obviously City will score goals. So I would back Man City to go through. I'd probably back City to win both games as well. But again, we've kind of like the last few years we've gone out like the quarterfinal stages, and it's been to worse teams than Dortmund, like Spurs, Lyon last year. We'd knocked out like Monaco. No, those teams like we should have been beaten anyway. So but with the way we've been playing this year, we just seem a little bit different. So especially like defensively. So you'd probably have to go with City to win both legs, I think.
Yeah, I think City will win both legs. I think it'll be quite comfortable in the end. Like you say, I find Dortmund to be dodgy at the back, so I think you'll exploit those gaps. They might score, but I think it'll just be a case of like City will score more, basically.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see, obviously, because Dortmund are really good going forward with the ball and stuff like that, but they're not going to have a lot of possession.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to be really good when they do get the ball back off us. They're going to have to be really good to obviously spring forward and then score. So obviously when I've watched Man City this year, when we've lost the ball, like the press has been really good, and we win the ball back like instantly.
Yeah.
So it'll have to be. I think Dortmund will have to do like a Man United performance,
Hit you
what
on the
they did to
counter,
us,
basically.
and really just try and soak up, get back, and then once, obviously because they've got fast players going forward. I don't think Jadon Sancho's fit either, which is a big miss for Dortmund as well. I think he's missing both legs. But yeah, that's the type of performance they need, like how Man United played against us. But they're just not as good as Man United. So I think it will be difficult. I'm going out on a limb here and saying it's going to be difficult for Dortmund to get a result. So we hope it doesn't bite me in the arse.
No, I tend to agree with you. I think you'll get quite like a convincing win in the first leg, and it'll just kill off the second leg, basically.
Well, I hope that is the case. And I mean, the winner of the City Dortmund game is either Bayern Munich and PSG. That gets played on Wednesday. Obviously, the big news from that is that Lewandowski's injury was worse than first feared. So he's going to be, I think he's missing. He's out for 4 weeks, 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks, I believe.
Yeah, so he's going to be out for both games, which I think is massive.
It is.
I'd even go out on a limb again and say probably PSG are probably the favourites to go through now. So I think Bayern Munich, they rely heavily on Lewandowski. So I think they're going to have to. I think on the weekends they played Shepard Moteng up front. I don't think he's going to really do it on big European nights.
It's not quite the same as a Lewandowski, is he?
So it'd be interesting to see if they play him up front against like PSG, or whether they do something different.
Yeah. Could be an interesting one.
They could spring someone up at I don't know, maybe they play like a false 9 and just have like, I don't know,
Thomas
like
Muller
Gnabry,
or something.
Muller, Sane, and just fucking like interchange and so. I don't know, but I think with him being out, he was probably arguably, if there was a Ballon d'Or last year, would have probably won it.
Yeah.
So he's a huge miss. So I would probably lean it towards PSG to go through. Which, if City go through, I'd be much more happy playing PSG than I would Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I said that to you the other day. I think if anyone poses a major threat in this tournament, it's Bayern Munich, and if PSG can get rid of them for you, I much prefer your chances against them than you would against Bayern.
Yeah, and especially like PSG lost in the league again on the weekend just gone. They're kind of like, they're usually about 15-20 points clear by now.
Yeah.
I know they're like, I think the top 4 in the league are split by like 3-4 points. So it's crazy, but they have been playing a lot better in the Champions League than they have obviously league.
Yeah.
Which is obviously big for them. But I think that's an interesting game with Lewandowski being out. That could literally go either way now.
True. It should be interesting to see.
And then obviously the last game on Wednesday is Porto against Chelsea. I would have said before the weekend, when they got tanked by West Brom 5-2, I would have probably said Chelsea to go for it.
Yeah, but now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, no, now I'm thinking that could be a tricky one.
I think, to be honest, they really struggled with having the man down, and it was unfortunate. Like, again, we reference FIFA all the time, but it was very like when you've slid to block the ball in FIFA and the guy just falls over you. It was very similar to that with the sending off. Like, it was definitely an attempted block, and then he just happened to land at the guy's feet, basically.
Yeah, I think the red card was like, it was unfortunate, but I think when you go like a man down, it's how you react and how you manage the game.
Yeah, he wasn't prepared for that at all.
Yeah, like the team they're going to be playing Porto. Look what they did to Juve away from home when they went down to 10 men.
Exactly.
Look how they reacted. They still went out and knocked them out. Where Chelsea absolutely collapsed against West Brom, going a man down.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And that for me shows what their character's like. So it'd be interesting to see how, because Porto haven't been a bad team this year.
Yeah, they've been really good.
So that'll be interesting, and obviously they get the winner of the Real Madrid-Liverpool game. So if you had to put my neck out, I'm going to be saying it's going to be City PSG in semi-finals
Mm-hmm.
on one side, and then on the other side, I'm gonna go Liverpool Chelsea.
Okay, so I'd agree with you at the City PSG, but I think Liverpool Porto. I think Porto might turn Chelsea over.
It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Also, I'd say I've watched Porto a few times in the Champions. Obviously, we played him in like the group stages, and then I watched him against like Juve and stuff. So they're definitely like a very good team, and they've got a really good like young manager as well. So I definitely wouldn't rule them out, like knocking out Chelsea. So is that the only one we're different on? Do you think like?
I think the Real Madrid Liverpool one will be a close game. I'm just going on Liverpool's past like European like night type of hype and thinking that they'll show up. But then again, like you say, fucking Real Madrid are the champions of the that cup.
Yeah,
of the Champions League, basically.
I also because Liverpool like to say they're like the kings of Europe, but
yeah,
it's Real Madrid. They're the actual kings of Europe.
Exactly.
You know, they've won it a load more times than anyone else. So they're the actual kings of Europe. So I think it will be a good game. I think they are going to be really interesting games.
I think all four have got potential to be really good games.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a good night of football on like both nights. So.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to be Europa League games on Thursday, but we'll do obviously another podcast then, so we'll preview those games on the next podcast.
Yeah.
So moving on from then, just to mention from the boxing world, Carl Frampton lost. He got stopped in the 6th round.
Yeah.
And then he retired.
He said before the fight he would do that as well, didn't he?
Yeah. So. I really like Carl Frampton as well. He's good fighter and stuff, and I've watched him a few times, and it's never really a boring fight, really. So maybe it's just like it just makes me feel dead old.
Yeah, seeing people like that retire.
Yeah, like seeing like football wise, you're looking at like Ronaldo, like Cristiano Ronaldo's like 36.
Yeah, when he
like
retires,
Messi,
it'll be like remember him being 19.
Yeah, and it's like seeing all these like Lampard, Gerrard, and Rooney are all like managers, and I'm like, it just makes me feel dead old.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like we watched Rooney since he was like 16, scoring that goal against Arsenal, and now he's like 40 managing. It's like, what's going on? Where did the years go?
I know it's fucking crazy, man. It's just weird how like quick it's gone. But I say I've seen like Carl Frampton that like retire and stuff now, and I know Conor Benn fights this weekend as well. But I think I was hoping for some news on Fury Joshua, but obviously we're still waiting on that now.
I think they only give him a guaranteed location.
Yeah, I think a couple of weeks ago they give him like 30 days to find a venue and a like obviously date and stuff like that. So I think Eddie Hearn said it was looking at by the first week or the last week of July, and then obviously it's like a 2-fight deal, isn't it? And then the second fight will be end of the year.
Yeah.
I know that also White's been tweeting Deontay Wilder quite a lot.
Yeah, he wants that fight, doesn't he?
So I think he wants that fight. That could possibly be a. I know U6 like the mandatory and stuff like that. So it's just this is what I don't get with boxing sometimes. It's just very complicated.
Yeah.
I think like they've had to like pay off Usyk, I think, because he was like the mandatory.
Well, I
for
know
him to step aside. I think he's going to be fighting Joyce. It's fucking got. Wilder was meant to be fighting Fury again.
Yeah, he took a £9 million payout to step away and let Joshua fight him.
Yeah, so they've had to pay off Wilder to step aside. Usyk was saying that they're going to have to pay him a lot of money to step aside because he wants the fights. So they've obviously paid him because he's now going to be fighting, apparently he's going to be fighting Joe Joyce. So the fact to pay off these two fighters for no reason to step aside.
Yeah.
Obviously, then you've got like Dillian White, who's, I know he lost to Povetkin, but he's been mandatory for years now, but hasn't got the fight. So I just find that's what's like the confusing thing with boxing.
Yeah, there's no actual system to it. Mandatory doesn't mean shit, really, does it? So
not really, no. Because just say they've got mandatories for all the different belts.
Yeah.
So it's just fucking weird, but obviously we'll see how that pans out. But apparently they only had 30 days to get like a venue and stuff. I don't know how long they've got left now, but you'd like to think that some kind of announcement will come shortly.
Yeah, it's got to come together soon. Otherwise, you're going to struggle to get all the advertising and stuff out for July.
Yeah, and like I know that both of them are pretty much in training. I know Hearn said Joshua was pretty much in fight camp, like training now. So he said that the other day. So I'm hoping if he's in fight camp, there's got to be some sort of announcement soon.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine so.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, that all comes out, and it'll be interesting as well. Speaking about a date in July, this has been confirmed by McGregor and Poirier and the UFC now that will take place. Is that the 10th?
The 10th of July.
Is it? 10th of July. The trilogy. I know Nate Diaz had a lot to say about it.
I did see a post today that said someone said like in an ideal world, Diaz will come back and beat Edwards. Masvidal will upset Usman and win the title. They'll then have the BMF / welterweight title like rematch. Diaz wins it, then fights McGregor in the trilogy for the belt.
Yeah, I think that's the ideal situation. Obviously, like I don't see that happening, to be honest. But
no,
that'll be the ideal situation. But I think I know McGregor's lost quite a lot recently, but the UFC, he's probably still like the biggest money maker for the UFC. So if they could put him against a Nate Diaz trilogy for the welterweight title and start advertising it for like McGregor to be like a 3-weight world champion,
yeah,
that could do unreal numbers.
I would imagine so. Yeah. The only other one that people want to see as much as that probably is the whole John Jones Francis Ngannou, and after the tweets the other day saying like had a good dinner with Dana and stuff like that, that looks like that could be getting closer to being sorted as well.
Yeah, I was happy I seen that.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's let go of his obviously light heavyweight, and he's been obviously piling on the muscle and stuff to get up to heavyweight, and it was just talk about money again, which is it's understandable because he wants to get paid. He's like the pound for pound number one, arguably the greatest of all time.
Exactly.
He wants to get paid. He's going to be fighting fucking probably the hardest hitter in combat sports, so he wants to get paid. So fair play to him, and he looks like with what he tweeted saying that he had, like you said, like he had a good meeting with Dana and stuff. Hopefully they've worked out a number and press forward with it. I know Ngannou said he wants to fight twice more this year.
That'd be an interesting one if they can get that sorted quickly, because
Mm.
they're not gonna give him someone else on the chance that he loses, I imagine. So John Jones would have to be next. If he wants to fight 2 more times, he's gonna have to fight in like September, December, something like that, or July and December or something.
Yeah, it's usually like, I mean, if they sorted out a fight now, it'd have to be like July.
You'd
maybe.
think so, wouldn't you?
And then if he wants to fight again, it would be like November, December. It was interesting as well because someone tweeted about John Jones wanting more than 9 million to fight,
Yeah.
and then Derek Lewis tweeted saying I'll take 8.
I'll take it.
So that was I wonder if they'll try and put Derek Lewis against the winner of Jones and Ngannou.
That was my initial thought, that Derek Lewis probably in line to fight whoever's next. Like, I know John Jones hasn't really earned a shot, but at the same time, he's undefeated. He's the pound for pound greatest of all time, apparently. You know, so it's hard to deny him a shot. Like, anytime anyone else steps up as champion, it's usually an immediate title shot. So hard to deny.
Yeah.
Man.
I thought. I know he probably would have held up the division, but I thought he would have maybe be held on to his light heavyweight to become like champ.
I think for Jones, like, dipping between them two just wasn't that possible. For what he wants to be in the heavyweight, he wants to be a big guy that can go with those, like, can wrestle with the big guys basically. Because I think that's his key to victory up at heavyweight, isn't it? His wrestling prowess.
Yeah. I think maybe like could he have not held on to the title
until
won the
he won
heavyweight title,
then let it go,
and then relinquished.
Well, look how long he's taken to fight at heavyweight though. There's no way they'd have let him hold up that division for like a year and a half.
True. I just think like maybe could you think of all like the fighters that have been like obviously double champ now?
Yeah.
Maybe when people are speaking about being like the greatest of all time, maybe they'll
take that away from him.
Yeah, they'll put that against him to say, oh, like these fighters have done. But again, that probably couldn't do that because of Khabib. Like he's like fucking 29 and now, and he was like lightweight. He never went up or anything, did he? So
no,
maybe not. But I think that was all the noise from the MMA world as well, isn't it?
Other than Volkanovski and Ortega have been confirmed as the coaches for Tough 29, and that means that the fight will wait until the conclusion of that season.
Yeah, I mean, we was talking about that when it got postponed, and we were saying maybe it gets rearranged quite quickly, or but obviously that's not going to happen now. That'll be at the end of the Tough.
I think it's Tough 29.
I was a little bit, I was a little bit surprised that it was them two that were going to be the coaches.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of noise about Usman and Masvidal doing it, but obviously they fight in like 2 weeks, something like that. So that's obviously they wanted that fight done quicker than wait until, because I presume like a recording of Tough takes a good few months, doesn't it? Like, so
it goes on a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, we might not see that fight until like July or August or something like that.
Yeah, I think I would have much preferred a Usman Masvidal coach.
Yeah, I'm not mad that I get that fight sooner though.
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to it, isn't there? So, I think there was talk about trying to get Nate Diaz to be like a coach and stuff like that. Obviously, before it was confirmed that he was fighting Edwards and whatnot.
I can't imagine Nate Diaz being very up for that, to be honest.
No. What's going on with have you heard anything about Nick Diaz? Because he's been cleared to fight and everything now, hasn't he? And
they tease his return all the time, but like realistically, who does he come back and fight? He's been out of the octagon for like nearly 5 years. I don't think we'll see Nick Diaz again, to be honest, in the octagon anyway. But I wouldn't be mad if he came back. I just don't know who he'd fight.
I know that's the issue, really, isn't it? As I say, I know when obviously his suspension was over, there was like, oh, he's going to be back soon, and then it's just kind of like dragged on. Now you don't hear nothing about it. No.
Yeah, the only thing I have noticed is recently the UFC have been posting a lot of like flashbacks that involve Nick Diaz, like when he knocked out Robbie Lawler and stuff like that. Like they're almost kind of like trying to say to you, like, don't forget this guy exists because he's going to come back at some point. But until a fight's confirmed, then we've got nothing to go on, have we?
No. I also seen as well. I know we've spoken about Paddy Pimblett being signed by the UFC now. He tweeted out to say that he definitely wanted a top 15 guy to fight. So he definitely wants to fight a ranked opponent straight away.
I'm sure he wants one. Whether he gets one is another question.
Yeah, he also said as well once he gets a fight and wins, he said once he gets on the mic and people see his walkout and stuff like that, then he'll take over the UFC.
We shall see. Not for me, but.
Oh no, not for me either. But I mean, I suppose you can't knock not the confidence, can you?
No, I mean that's the one thing you do have to have in combat sports. You have to have that unrivaled belief that no one can beat you and that you are the best in the world. Otherwise, what's the point? If you think, oh shit, he's better than me, then what's the point in even fighting him?
Yeah. So. Yeah, I just thought I'd get that out because we spoke about him. He was like, do they give him like an unranked guy or do they give him a ranked guy? But he definitely wants to fight someone in the top 15 on his debut. So
see how it goes.
Maybe watch this space. But I'll say I think unless you got anything else to add, so I think that's everything.
No, I think that's everything for this one. So we'll just ask for the usual: like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to be notified when videos go live. Check us out on the Twitter and Twitch, which is down in the description. We post these Fridays and Mondays, so we do like a recap of the weekend on a Monday, and obviously this one looks ahead at the weekend. We sometimes do watch-alongs, which we post on here as well, and then we play games on Twitch as well. So plenty of content to be taken in. And I think that is everything.
So yeah.
Exactly. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.